The human species must come together. We've got to. Because when we come together, extraordinary things happen. I mean, we put ourselves on the moon. But we've done extraordinarily problematic things in our coming together also, haven't we? We've come together to fight war. War that's not even about defending our own rights, but is really just about making money at this point. We've come together to pillage the land so hard, to tear apart the planet so powerfully, so quickly, quicker than it's ever been done by any other species, to the point that generations from now, they're not going to be able to grow crops. The nature's not going to be able to support us because we're taking too much too quickly with not enough consciousness. But we need to come together. We have to. Because the truth is, we're all in this world together. We are. And maybe each of us would put different things on a list of what I'd say is what's good and bad about this place. Maybe you'd say different things on the good side and different things on the bad side. But we are all in this together. That's undeniable. But as it stands, most of us, not all of us, maybe not you, maybe not me, at least maybe not all the time, we've become so self-serving, so focused on how do I get more for myself. And when each of us is fighting so hard to just get more, it creates a lot of fear and panic in the world around us. For it begins to appear that we're living in a competition, that I have to get it before you do. It starts to look like we're living in lack. And no matter how much we actually end up getting for ourselves, it never ends up being enough for some reason. Because you'll end up just needing to get the next phone version, or, the next TV, or the next amount of land, or we have to come together. The human species has become sad and self-destructive, where we're all depressed and anxious and feeling like no matter how much we get for ourselves, it's not enough. And the truth is, when I say that the human species must come together, there's this truth underneath that we actually already have come together. We've come together and decided that we live in competition and in lack, and we're always fighting for more. Because the human species has come together in unconsciousness, and we've forgotten the beauty and the power in this moment right now of how extraordinary it is that we're even alive. Think about that. How often do you actually feel the magnificence that you even exist and are able to perceive any of this at all. We usually don't, because we're so busy just trying to get through, just trying to get by, because the human species has decided it's competition and lack. So we're all like living in fear, and we're just running, constantly running, and we don't even know how to stop running. Because by the time we come home from all the running we've been doing, it doesn't stop, does it? That's why you have to drink your beer and smoke your weed and turn the TV on. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but we've forgotten how to just be. How to actually be free and live in harmony. Not just with each other, not just with the planet, but we've even forgotten how to live in harmony with ourselves. That's why you see depression and anxiety and physical illness and all this stuff just more. When we're so busy running, we forget the magnificence that we even exist, that we're even conscious, that we can perceive any of this at all, and that we are here together sharing in this experience. So that's what I'm saying. We need to come together as a species and remember how to be conscious, how to be here in this moment. And maybe that's a process that happens a little bit differently for everyone. If you've had that sort of realization in your own life, I would personally love to hear from you. What is it that caused that realization? I'm genuinely curious. This is information I'm actually interested in gathering with this community here. For anybody who's willing to share and has a moment to, what was that shift for you? Because maybe we can kind of connect the dots and start seeing what's the bigger picture here. How do we all unite and come into this beautiful truth? I know that we have what it takes as a species to come together and remember the beauty that is available right here, right now, but we have to live from that space. We have to choose to do that together. In the grand scheme of things, we're part of the Earth, and the Earth is part of the galaxy, and the galaxy is part of the solar system. The solar system is part of the universe, and the universe is part of something too that goes beyond what it is that we don't even have any understanding of. You could call that God, you could call that source, you could call that the infinite, but the fact remains that we're part of a system that is so much bigger, to such an extent that truly my life here as this person named Nathan, I'm not even a grain of sand on the beach. I'm not even a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things. That doesn't scare me though. Personally, it doesn't scare me. It liberates me. To be in the magic, to be in the moment, to really live, to really breathe, to really love one another, to really share the power of this place. And I think when we really remember that infinite, how extraordinary it is, I think when we really remember that, then we just start living consciously, naturally. We start actually living our lives, and we're not stomping all over one another. For when my life is so short in the grand scheme of the universe, why would I waste a single moment of it complaining or judging you in my mind or trying to fight against you or anybody else for that matter? This moment is too precious for that. This moment is too precious for that. But that's what the collective human species is doing. Fighting, striving, reaching, seeking, trying to get more. Prove who's right, prove who's wrong, get as much money, power, fame as you possibly can. We've been talking about these things in these videos now over this last month for a reason. Because spirit is rising in us, and we're beginning to really acknowledge that. We're all part of it together. The human species must come together on this realization. When we think everything revolves around us, and we think it's all about us, self-serving, selfishly, self-absorbed, we think we know everything, we think we understand everything, we just think that we're in the right all the time for each of us in our personal lives, that's what most people are operating from that place, then what this actually equals in actual reality is destroying ourselves, making ourselves sick, mentally and physically, destroying other people around us because we're always fighting against them and sticking our feet out to trip them and prove that we're the best. And it means that countries are fighting against each other and pillaging each other. And it means that the world is consuming itself and that we're all just in this cycle of unconsciousness and destruction. And that's why it hurts so much. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's only that way. As I said, I want to really reiterate this point. It's only this way because the human species already has come together. But we've come together collectively and decided to live in competition with one another. Globally, too. We've come together and decided that. But we can come together and decide we're not going to live in competition. We're not going to live in lack. We're going to unite. We're going to come together, and we're going to remember the beauty of this moment and how extraordinary it is to be alive. And we're going to start acknowledging that, hey, it doesn't matter how much money, fame, or power, or all the things I own in my house I have. People are sick. People are feeling empty. People are feeling like something's missing. And I think that we ought to start noticing that more instead of trying to bury that feeling of feeling like your life isn't really yours, of feeling like you might be kind of lost, or like, why am I never truly satisfied, right? Instead of trying to bury that feeling with more TV, more drugs, more movies, more video games, more money, more sex, whatever it is, instead of trying to fill that and shove it down and push it away so that we don't have to see it, if we come together collectively and we decide, let's be present with that collective wound. Let's be present with that. Let's really be here and inquire, what is that in me that nothing I put into it ever fills? What is that? Because the moment we come together collectively and we stop trying to hide from it, and instead we're willing to see it for what it is, that's when everything shifts. And I believe that that is exactly what is happening right now. Though it may look like more pain and more suffering and more fighting and more of all this horrible unconscious stuff going on around us, I'm telling you, that's true. We are seeing all of this stuff. But the question is, are we actually going to see it? Are we actually going to see it? Or are we going to keep burying ourselves in our personal lives with our movies and our video games and our drugs and our sex, or are trying to achieve our goals and be self-serving and get as much for ourselves as we can while we're here? Are we going to try to ignore what's going on by burying our heads in the sand in this way? Or are we going to acknowledge that what's happening around us is actually giving us as a species the opportunity to become conscious, to become more real than we've ever been before, and to let all that is false finally strip away and fall out of us so that we can really be here and start sharing this extraordinary moment with one another? Because that's not going to happen while we keep fighting so hard. It's just not going to happen while we keep fighting so hard, and that's the truth. Thank you. Much love to you. If you felt something special in this conversation, and if any part of you feels a resonance that maybe one of your friends or family or someone you know, that this video might be an awesome message for them, that they would feel it, they'd hear it, thank you for sharing it with them. And as I've been mentioning to all my friends here on YouTube lately, thank you to my YouTube channel members and patrons on Patreon for making all this content and this movement here that's happening on Vibes and Frequencies possible. I really appreciate it. This is where the support's coming from. Now, YouTube channel members and patrons on Patreon get exclusive content like behind-the-scenes vlogs, live streams, and other things like this. And if you want to know how to become a part of that, if you feel the call for that, those links are tagged in this description. And yes, YouTube channel memberships are now actually live. You can actually join now. Because it turns out I've been telling everybody you can become a YouTube channel member, but I didn't actually have it set up. But it is now. It's easy. You just go to the home page, and there's a join button there, and you can see what's there. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Vibes and Frequencies video. See you there.